Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome to another episode of UNC Hoops Talk podcast, number 71, I believe, and a big one. Only one game ever. Before we get into that, I am your host, Dan DeWitt, here as always at the UNC Hoops Talk podcast headquarters in Tennessee, and just excited, pumped up after a big win. Before we get to that one, ACC did lose another ACC Big Ten Challenge, 8-6 to the Big Ten, and it's been like 8 years after winning the first 10 in a row. The ACC has not won one in 7 or 8 years, with a couple of ties and a lot of Big Ten victories in there. So the Tar Heels did their part again, beating the Terrapins, which is what we'll spend most of the time on. But I just want to welcome you in. Thank you for listening or watching this podcast and the support that you give it. If you are new here, welcome in. You can listen on iTunes, Stitcher, pretty much any podcast catcher you have on your phone or computer. You can find it. You can also find it on YouTube if you want to watch the video. Not there is much difference, and not that I have a video face at all, but I just want to welcome you in, let you know where you can find it. All the links to connect with me or to find and support the podcast will be in the description of this podcast, wherever you're listening or watching, and just welcome you in. Excited for a new week. I'm pumped to be doing weekly podcasts. It's only been a couple of weeks now that we're really into the swing of things, and so excited. I just can't even contain it. College basketball has been consuming my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably very similar, at least with your passion of North Carolina Tar Heels is what I'm guessing. So, yeah, one game, big game. Time to jump in, though, I think, and look. The Tar Heels got Marcus Paige back. Obviously, that's huge. Our best player, our leader, our All-American, all those things. He was back, and it definitely showed on Tuesday when we took down the Terrapins. He came out strong. He had a drive and a dish for an assist on the first possession of the game. He had a three on the second possession of the game, and he never really stopped. He just kept providing for us, and we'll get into stats a little bit more, but there's just so much more. I think the energy was better. The spacing on the floor was better because of Marcus out there. The attention that he drew to himself and away from the big guys, and even from like Joel Berry and some of those wing guys, was very noticeable. And I think also just the confidence or the swagger, if you will, that he gave this team. To me, it's only one game. It's a small sample size for right now, but to me, it was pretty obvious that it was there. So hopefully that continues. People continue to accept their new roles with Marcus back, and our chemistry continues to grow. And I think, again, like we've been talking about all year, it can be a really special year and a lot of fun. So that's what we want to do here on this podcast. It is a podcast for the fans by fans. We want to unite Tar Heel Nation as much as we can. So please make this a discussion with me. Don't just listen to the podcast. Give your feedback, email, Twitter, so many different ways that you can do that. Please do so. I would love to hear that you're listening, that you enjoy, and what your thoughts are on different topics throughout the podcast. So jump on in the conversation and let's unite Tar Heel Nation. But yeah, we have Marcus back. Joel played really well. Some guys' roles change a little bit. But we got the win. We looked really good. It was a lot of fun to watch. I even tweeted out during the game, like, win or lose, like, this is what college basketball is all about. This is a fun game to watch. Roy said in the press conference too, it felt like an old school ACC game or an ACC tournament game or even a March Madness game. This could be an Elite Eight, a Final Four type game right here, us in Maryland. Both very good teams, and golly, this is what college basketball is all about. I loved watching that game. Like I could have just stayed up all night watching those two teams play. It was just a lot of fun. The style of play. All those things were great. So Before we jump into the stats, I wanted to give a little shout out here and I don't have them, so don't go watch the video. I needed to get some pictures and like tweet them out and stuff. But Johnny Trade Scarf, I don't know if that's actually a person's name or not, but on Twitter it's at Tradition Scarf. Got me a couple of North Carolina scarves, and these things are pretty sweet. I haven't really tried them out. I live in Tennessee, so scarves aren't all that necessary anyway as far as actually using them to stay warm. But I don't know how much they would really keep you warm if you live somewhere cold. But they're very, very cool. I can't really say that I am into scarves that much, but these are really sweet. They're very quality made. For me, they will probably go kind of in my, I don't know, I really have a man cave, but with all my other North Carolina stuff that gets displayed, they will definitely be in there, either up on the wall or hanging on a chair or whatever to display them. But very quality made from what I can tell so far. I've only had them for a little while now. Like I said, haven't done enough with them as I should have so far. It's been kind of crazy. But wanted to give him a shout out. Go follow him on Twitter. Give him a little shout out for me. Tell him that I sent you there. But at Tradition Scarf. Also, you can go to traditionscarves.com. I will make sure to put links to those in the description as well. But I don't have a promo code. I try to get back in touch with him to get one. And if I can in the future, I'll get you guys a little promo code to save some on them if you want to order a North Carolina scarf. But if you do right now without even a promo code or anything, definitely tell him that I sent you. Would love, I mean, he's not sponsoring the show or anything. I didn't promise anything when he sent them to me, but I definitely wanted to give him a shout out, and maybe he'll be a sponsor in the future and help this podcast become even better. But definitely give him a shout out so he knows that you heard about them or you're shopping there because I sent you there. That will only help the podcast. So like I said, at Tradition Scarf, traditionscarves.com. And I will make sure that I get some stuff up, pictures taken wherever I put them. But right now, I'm actually in the process. This next month or so, we're packing up. We're moving to a different home. I'll still be here in Tennessee, not getting any closer to Chapel Hill, unfortunately. But we're excited to be moving. But if you've ever moved, you know how crazy it is. We got 2 little kids, so it's even that much more crazy. Trying to close on our current house, renovating and moving into our new house. So it's all crazy. I'm going to try to keep up with the podcast as best I can. And looking at my calendar before I started recording it, I think I can do it. So keep me accountable and make sure we keep this podcast going and strong and lots of quality. But that will definitely be something if you go let them know that I sent you there. It definitely helped the podcast a lot. But let's jump into the Maryland game. We ended up with a 89-81 win, pretty solid. We had a nice little lead throughout the first half. They came back a little bit before halftime. I can see if I find the halftime score real quick. We were up 6 at half, 41-35. Came out a little slow in the second half. They came back, actually got the lead a couple of times, briefly as it was, but did have a lead. And then we came back strong. And I think I heard somewhere we ended up with like an 18-6 run to end the game. And we, of course, won 89-81. Before we even get into to our stats, Melo Trimble, big game for them, 23 points, 12 assists. Helped us out a lot with the turnovers, though. He was 4 for 5 shooting from 3, 8 for 14 overall, but had 8 turnovers. And as a team, Maryland had 22, so it definitely helped us. I don't know that they were all forced by any means. Hopefully we did force some of them. But yeah, he had a huge game. And then also Rashid Suleiman, if you weren't aware, you probably found out pretty quickly, the former Dookie is playing for Maryland, had 18 points, shot 5 for 9 from the 3. So again, between those two guys, hit 9 threes, 9 for 14, pretty insane percentage. Definitely kept them in the game early on, of course, helped them to get the lead a little bit in the second half, but we were just too much. Marcus Paige led Tar Heels, took them down, and Marcus definitely did lead us. Played 34 minutes in his first game back, shot 7 for 12 overall, 4 for 5 for 3, which is just phenomenal. 2 for 4 for free throws, which we can talk about a little bit later, but we were mind-boggling, like just terrible almost at the end of the game there. Luckily, we had a big enough lead it didn't matter, but we shot pretty decent free throws. I mean, it's 14 for 25, doesn't look good overall, 56% for the game. But for the most part, I think we were decent. And then at the end, like everybody was missing. It was crazy. And really, I think we could have gotten close to getting biscuits, getting 100 points if people weren't missed. I know, who was it? Joel Berry missed a couple. I think Justin misses were at the end of the game. I think Theo's misses were at the end of the game. Marcus had a couple at the end of the game. So I mean, that's like 8 points there. We were at 87 or 97 if those make it, or, get to 95 if we don't make them all. But yeah, Marcus was 2 for 4 from the free throw line, 20 points, 5 assists to 1 turnover, 2 steals in his 34 minutes. And really the biggest part, well, obviously, I mean, is the energy and the confidence he gave everybody is probably going to be the biggest part. But when Maryland went to the 1-3-1 zone, it was giving us a little trouble. It took us a little while to adjust. But that's when Marcus hit a couple of threes. And I just, I know if you listen to this podcast, you know as well that I had said I didn't know if I wanted Marcus to play in the Maryland game. Him coming back on a big stage like that, you don't know what he's going to be like. Obviously, he proved me wrong. But I mean, it makes me wonder, like, if we wouldn't have had Marcus, like, if somebody didn't hit those threes, kind of wake us up, kind of get them out of that zone, like, what would have happened? And I don't know. It could have been a totally different game. Like when they came back and got the lead, it was Marcus, I think, both times that made plays to get us lead back. Once with a 3, and I think the other one was with an assist or something. But, would the team have wilted? Would they have, fought back and won anyway? Obviously, we'll never know. And to me, to defend my position of not necessarily wanting Marcus to play was to see if those other guys would step up. And obviously it would have been a good place to measure that. If we didn't have Marcus, they came back and got the lead. Would Joel Berry, would Bryce Johnson, Justin Jackson, all those guys, would they have stepped up, and would we have still won the game? Again, we're not going to know that, but it was great to see Marcus out there. I mean, obviously I never would have, but I still would never wish us missing Marcus Paige again. But other guys, Joel Berry, 32 minutes, 14 points on 4 for 7 shooting, 3 for 5 from the 3-point line. Again, seemed just more open because Marcus was out there. It wasn't that he hadn't hit threes before, but that's a much better percentage than he had been shooting. And a lot of because I think Marcus is out there. 5 assists to 2 turnovers, which is a better ratio for him. Maybe not handling the ball as much, but yeah, really good on that aspect. Bryce Johnson, 16 points, 6 rebounds. Kennedy Meeks had 12 points, 6 rebounds, which, yeah, both those guys need to rebound better than that. Had 3 assists, 3 turnovers, a couple of blocks, 3 steals. And really the only starter that I guess you would say struggled. It's not like a terrible game, but Justin Jackson shot 3 for 7. Had a big 3 though, one of his only 3. He was 1 for 2 from the 3-point line. Just 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, and did have 5 steals though. So definitely contributed, but not the games we had been seeing from Justin. So maybe a little bit of adjustment by Justin. Not easy to say there, but between him and Marcus back and stuff, but again, nothing to worry about. And then we had off the bench Isaiah Hicks, 15 minutes, got 4 points, 6 rebounds. And I had tweeted out again that, where the heck had Isaiah Hicks been? I didn't notice him until the second half, but then someone said, well, he's leading us rebounds. But it wasn't as much that he was just a monster on the boards. It was that Kennedy, Bryce, Justin aren't doing as well as they need to. I mean, 6 rebounds should not lead us in rebounding. I don't care how many, how much the other team's making or missing or whatever. Like, you should have more than 6 rebounds to lead us in rebounding. But Theo Pinson, 18 minutes off the bench. First game that he didn't start this year. 6 points, 4 rebounds. Solid game for him, and something it's going to be a little bit of adjustment probably for him. Less minutes like that. Nate Britt though, 10 minutes, which he had been playing, easily 20, 20 plus, but still gave us 5 points, 3 assists, and no turnovers. Hit his only 3 in those 10 minutes. So I don't know if it'll always stay there, or if him and Joel will even out a little bit. And that comes back to the old age podcast question of Joel Berry or Nate Britt. But of course, or not of course, but somewhat, Roy has kind of tipped his hand here, saying that it's going to be Joel Berry over Nate Britt. Whether it's this much, I don't necessarily know. Obviously, foul trouble could play into that. A lot of things could go into that. I don't know that Marcus always plays 34 minutes. Obviously, this is a big game. There's his first one, a lot of energy, national TV, all that stuff. So I don't see Nate staying at just 10 minutes, and Joel and Marcus both over 30 every game. Usually, you could easily take, if you played Marcus and Joel even just 30 minutes, say 28, 29, 30 minutes. That's 6 to 10 minutes there that Nate could get, or even Theo gets some of them. So Nate could go up to 15 and Theo up to 20 easily there. Joel James still got 9 minutes. I think, again, you've heard me say this if you've listened to the podcast, too many minutes for him, especially without guys in foul trouble. I'd rather have Isaiah Hicks get 4 or 5 more minutes and be up around 20, and Joel James around 5 minutes, if that. But he did give us 3 points, 3 fouls, a rebound, and 2 turnovers in those 9 minutes. Joel, nothing, or Joel, I should say, nothing personal against you. I just think we got better guys. Isaiah Hicks should be in there. Bryce and Kennedy, if they're not in foul trouble, run them as much as they can. We're just such a different. I know that usually Kennedy and Joel that are exchanging for each other, but we're just so different when Joel is in there compared to when Kennedy is. Or I'd rather see Isaiah and Bryce in there together than Joel James for the most part, and even play like Theo or Justin Jackson at the 4 and go small a little bit, change it up. But it is what it is. Overall, we shot the 3 ball really well, which of course we know is going to be key. We were 9 for 13. Free throws, like I said at the end of the game, struggled way too much. If it would have been closer, it could have got tight, and it could have got tight in a hurry. It would have been crazy. 22 assists to 15 turnovers for us. Solid, not exceptional. Only 12 fouls called, with especially those new rules that are supposed to come in. Played very well. They had 21 called. Obviously, some of those very late, trying to foul us and make it close and whatnot. 13 steals, though. That's a nice number to have. Yeah, it was just an awesome game. I mean, I know maybe in my voice, it's just when I start talking about the stats, it's more monotone or whatever, but I was pumped watching this game. It wasn't even like after that we had won. Like I said, I would have just enjoyed it. Obviously not as much, but just enjoyed watching this game, the quality it was played at, and just how much fun it was. Guys were making plays on both sides. And yeah, like I said, it's what college basketball is all about, especially for a November game, early December, I guess. Technically it was December 1, but non-conference game like this, it's not in one of those tournaments. It was just a lot of fun to watch. I hope you saw it. I hope you enjoyed it. There's not going to be a lot of these games played this year. I know the intensity can pick up in ACC play and conference play. We get into the it's just not going to happen, games like this. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, or at least close to as much as I did, because it was a lot of fun to watch, I thought. But that covers the only game we had this week. Big one, important one. Now we got to see where we go with the adjustments of Marcus back and all that stuff. And it gets easier, but it doesn't at the same time. We have Davison coming into Chapel Hill on Sunday. It's going to be a 6 p.m. Eastern game on ESPNU. And then from Sunday, we go all the way to the following Saturday, where we go to Texas, take on Shaka Smart, his first season in Texas. And so I don't know if I'm going to podcast next week with just one game. I haven't decided. Maybe I'll do a shorter one covering the Davidson game. But to go just, again, one game is maybe you like it. Let me know. Would you rather have, a shorter podcast? This one still, we're getting to 20 minutes, 20 plus minutes. But would you rather have a shorter one just on the Davidson game, or should I wait and follow up, Davidson and Texas the following week? Let me know. I don't want to leave you guys hanging, but I also want to make sure it's worth it when you're listening to this. I know your time's valuable, my time's valuable, and I don't want to waste it or anything like that. So tentatively skip next week's podcast, and maybe we'll double up at some point here when we get into conference play or end of the year, new year, something like that. But that's all I got for you. Again, I appreciate you listening, supporting the podcast. The best way to support it, tell other Tar Heels. Like I said, let's unite Tar Heel Nation. If you want to support it more, look in the description, subscribe and leave reviews wherever you listen to this, iTunes, YouTube, whatever it is. And if you want to support it more than that, go to patreon.com/UNC Hoops Talk. That's patreon.com/UNC Hoops Talk. And you can give as little as $1 a month. It's just a monthly kind of ongoing crowdfunding, which just helps me. All the money goes right back in. I'm not making money by this. I'm not good enough for that, and it's okay with me. I am just a fan like you guys, enjoying my passion for the Tar Heels. But if you'd like to support, I would greatly appreciate it. And again, it'll go all back into making the production of this better. But that is there. All those links are in the description, as I said before. I am your host, Dan DeWitt, and that is all I got for you this week. But just remember, until I talk with you again, go Heels.